What's up, guys? Welcome to Rad Tech Reviews. My name is Kyle. Today we're going to be talking about Sick. Sick, which is a COVID-19 pandemic set slasher on Peacock. I don't know if it's a Peacock original or not, but it's been on there ever since it released. So go ahead and like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. You can follow my letterbox. Those are in the description below. And let's just go ahead and get into it. So like I said, this is a slasher movie, and it takes place during the pandemic when all the quarantine and stuff was happening, so a little bit of relevancy there to the times we live in now, which I'm sure that aspect alone will probably turn a lot of people off right away, when it comes to politics being in film and stuff. Even though it was a part of our lives, a lot of people, for whatever reason, they don't want any part of that. They think it's some sort of agenda. I will say that the pandemic isn't just the setting for this. It does actually play into the story and how everything rolls out, with like the motivations of the killer and all that. So quick, spoiler-free synopsis and stuff. So basically, you have a couple college-age girls, and they have to quarantine, so they decide to do that at one of the girls' family cabin, which is at a lake, and it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So they're social distance from everybody, and then while there, they get basically hunted and attacked by a masked killer. And I really liked this. I thought it was pretty good. The guy who wrote it, I think, I don't know if he wrote which Scream he was a part of writing, but he's part of the Scream franchise, and you can definitely feel that in the story and how everything kind of works and stuff. There's definitely Scream vibes going on in this movie. And then the director has done some other cool stuff, like Alone from a couple years ago. So it's got good people behind it. As far as it being a slasher goes, the kills are pretty good. Nothing too graphic. I could always use more blood, more gore. The characters are okay. They're not the most memorable, but they're not bad. And I thought story-wise, motivations and everything, I thought it all made sense. Which for me, that's a big deal. I like it, even if it's ridiculous. The motivations. If I buy into it, then I'm all about it. So let's go ahead and start talking spoilers now. You get this kind of cold open at the beginning, which I really liked, because it kind of which was very Scream-esque. You don't really know how it's going to play into the story and stuff. You just follow this random kid, and it's got some stuff that we all lived through from COVID and everything. He's trying to get toilet paper. All the shelves are all empty at the store and everything, and then that's when some of that Scream homage stuff starts coming in. He gets texts of himself from the store, so then he gets texts from when he's at his apartment afterwards. So, and one thing I liked is when the fights with the killer are happening, it's a lot of back and forth. Like it feels very real with how the person's defending themselves. The killer's not some superhuman monster, which I don't mind when that comes to Jason and Michael and stuff like that, but the killer's also not big time klutz, which is one of the things I don't like about the Scream franchise. Is Ghostface a lot of times feels like some newly born deer that doesn't know how to use his damn feet, tripping all over himself. This killer feels like a much more intimidating real person. And the kills they can be kind of brutal too. The first kill in the movie, it's simple. It ends up being just a neck slash, but what leads up to that, the kind of back and forth between the kid actually using his brain to defend himself and stuff like that, I like that. And then at that point, you don't know how it's going to lead into everything else yet, because then you jump over to our two girls. One of them is very much into following the rules of sanitizer and masking and all this stuff, and the other one is much more the opposite of, screw it, I'm outside, I'm not wearing my mask, what the hell's the point, kind of stuff. So character-wise, you kind of get both sides of actual people during that time. then so they go out to the house, and then you start getting some messages themselves of what's going on, and you can tell somebody's watching them, and then you introduce one of the girls' boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, I don't know what to call him, but he was probably the best character in the movie. Unfortunately, he didn't last very long. But again, he was smart. I mean, he paid attention. He noticed pretty quickly that something was up and there was somebody in the house, and got that information relayed to the other two, and then he defended himself pretty well. Wasn't enough, unfortunately, mostly because he could have gotten out, but he got a little cocky there right at the end. And then you find out that his death, I mean, he just gets stabbed a bunch, so pretty one note, nothing too special there. Best death in the movies comes later, and it involves some deer antlers, and you find out that it's more than one killer, so there's another Scream-esque thing. It's not just one person. It's actually a family of three, where a husband, a mom, and then the son. And you find out, basically the reveal ends up being that our main girl is, through contact tracing this family, determined that this main girl is the reason why their son died of COVID, and he died in a hospital by himself because they weren't allowing visitors and all that kind of stuff. So they wanted revenge, which I think makes sense. It's ridiculously over the top, of course, but as far as how this all plays out and how it works for that time, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I really like the way that works. So they want revenge. So, and that other kid at the beginning, you find out he was a part of that tracing and the party and everything. But of course, they're being hypocrites about all of it because their own son is on video also not wearing a mask. But they don't want to recognize that. They only want to use that, twist that knowledge against the people they think are responsible. So the brother gets beat the fuck by our main girl, which is awesome. I mean, Laurie Strode needs to take notes, because when he was down, she climbed on him and she beat the shit out of his face. I mean, thankfully, I mean, he wasn't completely dead. He was only mostly dead. But he did. He did wake up a little bit, but he was useless at that point, at least. Friend, she gets fallen off the building. I mean, that looked pretty rough. I can't imagine falling that far. Breaks her leg, and then she has time to herself. She plays dead. They think she's dead. And then she uses a stool, breaks a stool to make a splint for her leg, which is quick thinking. Then you get some cat and mouse chase going on between the father and the girl, and then she thinks she's going to get saved by this woman that drives up, which turns out to be the wife, and they get her caught. Friend comes along, saves her, gets her out of there, and then you get a little more chasing going on. All that's really tense. I think my favorite thing about this movie is the camera work. Anytime camera work is used where it's not a bunch of jump cuts and edits, and there's a lot more tracking going on, it always, I think, works better from an artistic standpoint and from a just knowing what's going on type of thing. You're not like, what just happened? I have no idea what's going on. It's jumping around too much. So then the father's death was probably the best death in the movie. He falls off the banister and gets impaled by some deer antlers. And I don't know if that's a Silent Night, Deadly Night homage or not, but that's the first thing I thought of course. So that was pretty cool. And they get out of it. They get out there. The mom gets set on fire, burns to death, and police come and you get credits. So yeah, I think definitely check this out if you like slashers. Definitely check this out if you have Peacock. I thought it was really well made, really well acted, and definitely worth the time to sit down and watch it. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks.